good.
Just start.
All right. Injury-wise, Compton, Sterling, those guys will still be out. Quinnen, we're just going to keep progressing him. He'll still be limited. Felt like we got a lot of good reps yesterday, which that was good improvement. Marcus is still going to do 7-on-7 stuff. Just keep him at least away from contact, but him getting those reps is valuable for us. I heard word on the street was you guys were crushing the offense a little bit yesterday. Defense had a good day, so it's a good process for us. It's tough going against Greg's defense. There's multiple looks. We threw in some new stuff yesterday on offense, and it was some growing pains there. But that's part of the process. It's good stuff, for us to have to go through.
Does Quinnen missing some time, how does that impact him going into training camp?
I think he'll be all right. I mean, it's it's always unfortunate anytime that you're missing reps. I still think the meeting times have been very valuable for him. I think the fact that he kind of had to get a little bit of a start with individual, work his way into practice, and just increasing the reps. We have another week, so he'll be full go next week, which will be great. It's that not doing anything really football-wise and then ramping it up. We had him for a week, but it just wasn't enough time to get him ready, and he just kind of had a little bit of a scare with his calf.
Is there anything you've been able to see from him in the limited time?
Yeah, I mean, him being with the group he's with right now, he disrupts everything. So we got to get him up in, those first two groups coming up probably next week. He'll be rolling with those guys. It'll be more challenging for him. I think right now that you can see a difference between his skill set and the guys he's going against.
You mentioned a little bit of scare with his calf. Did you think it was?
No, it's just anytime a big guy has any kind of calf injury, it could be a time-consuming type thing. So you just want to be careful bringing him back. Just some experiences in the past where I've seen guys where it lingers and you rush him back too fast. So you just have to be careful. I think we're in a good place right now. We've done it the right way. John and his crew in the training room have done a really good job of making sure that he's in a good spot, and things are looking exactly the way we need them to heading into next week.
And you've touched on Harrison and Sam's relationship in the past. How critical is a center for a young quarterback? In other words, how can a good center impact a young quarterback's development?
Can take a lot off his plate. Every offensive system's different. For us, we're kind of in the Mike Point world where the quarterback or the center have to do it. And anytime that you can put it on the center and he can kind of get the ball rolling, that's a big advantage for the quarterback because he doesn't have to necessarily think of, all right, hey, I have to do everything from the get-go, where the center's really kind of starting it off. He can make the calls. He can kind of get things going on the line. And the quarterback can change it if he wants. He can follow up. He can kind of hear what's going on. So it's almost like where somebody else is starting it and he can finish it. So it's eliminating some steps for him. And that's critical because it's just one less thing he's worried about.
Did you want to improve the position in the offseason? And if so, were you disappointed that didn't happen?
I think we're always looking to create competition. I think the way that really free agency and the draft, it just kind of worked out. We just didn't acquire anybody else. I think we're always looking to improve and create competition at every spot. Not just that spot, but, throughout the entire offensive line, you just want to create as much competition in that room as possible.
And one last thing, just on Jonathan specifically, why would he be a good fit for what you want to do?
I think he's extremely smart. He does a great job, his energy level, and just keeping the tempo going for that group. If you watch him, you can tell those guys really follow his lead. He has a very good way about him as far as setting the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage, getting those guys ready, getting their hands in the dirt, making the call, being decisive. All those little things are very valuable at that spot, and I think he's done a good job of that so far.
Just back to Quinnen, what's been your impression of him just as a guy around the building, as a worker, in the meetings?
He's just one of those guys. He just loves football. He loves everything that you do. Whether it's meetings, lifting, whatever he's doing, you never see that guy he always has a smile on his face. And he's excited to be here, and I think he really enjoys being around his teammates.
What do you make of Le'Veon his first practice yesterday?
I thought he did a good job. He jumped right in there. He wants to get as many reps as he can. He's trying to pick up the terminology and get up to date as fast as possible. it's hard to kind of cram it all in a short time, but he's done a good job asking the right questions, very engaged in practice, asked the right questions in practice.
Will he do more today than what?
We're going to try. I mean, we have a lot of unscripted type things, so we just got to be smart as far as what we put him in there. I feel like I have an idea of kind of what he does know right now, and we'll just probably try to lean on some of that stuff.
Was he in your ear yesterday to try to get in more, to get more reps?
He was really good about just whenever we put him in, he was asking more questions on, okay, why are we doing it? Why do we do it this way? Or what am I looking for here? It was very, very good questions he was asking. He is very good. His vision when he's watching the run plays, the comments that he was making, I think got us, a couple of us like, wow, that's a really good point that he's making there. So, I mean, obviously his experience and his ability as a runner, like we heard it vocally yesterday.
When we were talking to Quincy and Robbie yesterday, they said how Le'Veon's versatility can positively impact them as receivers. Can you describe in an X's and O's kind of way how having a running back like that who can move around the formation could make life easier for wide receivers?
It's just creating, you're not one-dimensional. When you have a running back that the defense isn't sure, is he going to be in the gun, offset, strong, weak? Is he going to be under center? Is he going to be split out wide? Is he going to be the single receiver? Is he going to be an empty? Is he going to be in the slot? There's 5 different spots he could go in if we win an empty. If you have a guy that can do all those different type of things and he's good at it and he's able to catch the ball and run the routes like that, it makes it very difficult for the defense to defend. You start seeing coverages where they simplify it because you're moving so many pieces around. And when you have that kind of flexibility, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense. It's hard to cover everything, so they have to simplify the defense. And that is what helps the other guys as well, because they're focused on him so much.
So that helps Sam get a pre-snap read on
Correct.
what's coming.
Yes.
Coach, when you look at your personnel, running backs, receivers, tight ends, would you say this is the most explosive personnel you've been running, and what does that do against the defense? Does that cause any more?
It's hard for me to compare it to. It's different than probably what I've had in the past. You know, it's as far as the structure of the personnel. But I would say there's elements that we could be explosive. There's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of guys that can do a lot of different things, which is good for us. Once again, it'll put pressure on the defense. They have to figure out who are we taking away. And then when they do that, that's when the other guy is going to have a good game. It should be one of those situations where each game it's somebody else that's going to be able to have a big game.
I don't remember if you've addressed this before, we may have in the offseason, but the video boards or like the live streaming, I know that the Rams do that, I don't know if the other team does that. Where did you get the idea from and what is the purpose behind it?
Michigan was the first one. I know that some of the other NFL teams are doing. Michigan was the first one that I personally saw. Jim Harbaugh kind of really recommended them to Steve Ross at the time, and we were experiment with them. And then the players in Miami really liked them because in season, I think we had 3 or 4 of them in season, like the defensive line could go over and they could watch the last period while we still had the other screens going real time and replaying each play. So our guys were almost having meetings on the field and trying to just stay ahead of that. It was very, very helpful for us. And, you know, working with these guys before, they got one of them up here, and, you know, we'll see if we add any more. And I think our players so far have really liked having those, being able to kind of see what happened on the previous play.
So Miami had multiple ones and
Yeah.
you would like rewind and stuff, whatever?
Yeah, they got it set up to where it's when that play's run, it just replays that same play over and over again until you run the next play.
You mentioned some of the comments Le'Veon was making when he was watching. Could you just maybe provide a general example?
Just talking about like run reads,
Okay.
where he was talking about, hey, if that guy's going to fit it like that, then we need to keep the ball front side, and that's going to be a crease. Just things like that, which are, it's normal for most running backs that you would stand back there and watch a play with. It was just kind of good that, you know, I wasn't asking him questions like that. I was just listening to what he was saying, and it was just kind of cool listening to him talk about how he was seeing things.
He said mentioned he was behind, he felt like on the offense because he hadn't been here. What's your sense of where he's at with the offense?
I feel like he's really sharp, and he's picking things up very quickly because he does a good job of asking the right questions. And when we were talking about some of the code words, he was like, so this means this, and he's like, well, how did you get to that? And then like just kind of talking about the genesis of like some of the words and things like that, and how kind of the teaching process of it. And he's a quick study.
Do you think that Marcus will shed the red no contact jersey at the beginning of camp, or is that something that's
That's what we're aiming for. We're shooting for that to try to get him really ready to go for camp. You know, if we kept him out completely right now, you know, it would be the same thing. He's anxious to get out there and do some stuff. That's why we basically said, we'll put you in the red. We can't have you falling on the ground. And so that's why he's a little further back probably than what he'd normally be, a little less aggressive going to the ball, because we don't want him having contact with anybody. But we do feel like things are lined up to where we should be ready to go by training camp.
Tell us the process with the offense and everything. Sam seemed a little frustrated yesterday by his performance, and I know you
Yeah.
say, you know, how he is. Do you talk to him? Do you tell him this is going to happen? I mean, how do you handle him in those situations?
Yeah, we don't want to revisit the mic'd up that I had yesterday. I think I slipped up a couple times as far as what it's, but like I told him, I mean, he's 22 years old, you know, and like the first play of the team period is a great example. His eyes go to the right spot, Robbie doesn't run the right route, and somehow he still completes it. And that's not his fault. He still completed it, but that's like one of those things, it's not a problem until it's a problem. And there's a couple times where he throws an interception, and I'm not happy about it. He wasn't happy about it, and just letting it carry over, just kind of being able to reset, start over, okay, go to the next play. And those little tiny things, it's all valuable. It's tough against Greg's defense. You're getting multiple looks day in and day out, and it's not slowing down. But the good thing is when we hit training camp, we start over. Now he's heard all this stuff. It's been kind of ingrained in his brain, and then we'll get better as we go.
He talked about maybe getting together with guys after this is all said and done. How valuable can something like that be?
Anytime these guys are together, it's great. You know, it's one of those things, it's a dead period, so I don't know, I'll be on vacation.
What was your impression of Marcus as an opponent when you were marking that?
Both those guys were tough, just dealing with both the safeties. So, you know, I love the fact those two guys want to be interchangeable. You know, they don't want to be, hey, I'm just a down guy, hey, I'm just a middle field safety, or hey, we're always playing split, whatever it is. They want to be interchangeable. I love that about those guys. And I know Marcus does have the ability to both play in the post, down. He can go and play nickel if you ask him to. He is very, like, his flexibility is great. And that's what you're looking for in a position like that.
Okay, two more, one from Rich, one from Matt.
On paper, your cornerback position seems thin. How do you feel about it?
I think we're thin at more than just corner. There's some other spots where if we have some injuries, it could be an issue. That's why we have to keep finding ways to create competition. I mean, when you look at kind of how this thing goes, you kind of get in the middle of June, and all of a sudden some guys get cut free due to salary issues. You get the waiver wire. You just always combing that thing, seeing if you can create competition, whether it's at corner or any other position. And that's why the pro department's got to do a great job going through. When we get closer to those cuts in training camp, of just keeping their eyes open, and then you always have to be alert for if any trades pop up. I mean, you just never know. The amount of phone calls that go in and out between organizations, it's a lot more than what people realize sometimes, and we just have to be ready to be aggressive if we need to be.
Back to Sam for a second, you have mentioned to us before that you kind of have to learn how to talk to him and which buttons to push. So is a day like yesterday when things aren't going so well, is it kind of instructive for you learning when to say what to him and kind of how to
Yeah, you can say whatever you want to him. He doesn't. He's great about that. I think he likes it better when you're a little aggressive with him. So, I think the first time that I actually raised my voice, he was like, about time you started getting on me a little bit. So, but you're always trying to figure out kind of how a guy, you need to coach that person. And everybody's different. And you have to adjust your style to not just a quarterback, but all, guys. Some guys like you to ride them and get on them and yell at them. Some guys don't like that. Mike Marsh used to say, hey, you got to whisper coach him. I didn't know what that meant at the time, but, I understood what he was saying eventually, where you just got to figure out the right way to talk to each player to get what the best out of them.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, guys.